are now, I want you to visualize we were sitting on the Mount of Olives, right? And we were looking over at the Golden Gate, the Eastern Gate, remember? And it was all blocked up. And there was a graveyard in front of it, remember? Okay, now we are immediately inside that gate where we are. You can see the Golden Gate, two arches that were blocked up. You see right here where I'm talking about? That's what you can see from the outside of the wall. Now through the brown doors, that just about everybody ought to be able to see. You see the brown doors down there? There, you can go in those. I can't go in them. I don't have the key. But if you go in them, you will find inside the original Eastern Gate from the time of Christ, that they built this gate over. You understand what I'm saying? All right? So the original gate is under and partly uses this gate. Now this was an operating gate up until the time the Crusaders were run out of town. They would open it up once a year at Easter and would recreate the triumphal entry, and all the troops would march. No, down, please. Down. Thank you. All the troops would march down the hill and they'd recreate the the coming down Palm Sunday Road and across the valley and into the city. So, and then of course, as soon as El Saladin took the city from the Crusaders, 1187, bam, he blocked up the gate. So we all understand? All right, this is a little sensitive area here, which is why I didn't want you climbing on it, because if you could see what was on top, you would see Israeli soldiers with like up there on top, guarding everything. So I'm surprised I've been able to stand here this long without getting thrown off. But anyway, so we understand where we are. Now, remember what we said on top of the Mount of Olives. We said that the rabbis in the Mishnah said, when you come in the Eastern Gate, you are looking directly at the Holy of Holies. All right, now we're going to go up these steps, and when we get up on top of the mount, we're going to position ourselves where the Eastern Gate is, and then we're going to look straight to the west, and I want you to see where the Holy of Holies was. Everybody with me? It was not in the El-Aqsa Mosque. Well, that's all the way down there. It was not in the Dome of the Rock. It's up on the northern end of the Temple Mount, which is where we were able to see that sitting on the Mount of Olives, the right-hand side of the temple. Now you're going to walk up and actually be there, and we'll walk you down to where we think the Holy of Holies actually was. By the way, that no Orthodox Jew ever comes up here. Ever. And you know why? Because we don't know for sure exactly where the Holy of Holies is. Exactly. And they are afraid that if they come up here and walk around, they might accidentally step where the Holy of Holies was. And of course, nobody was allowed to go into the Holy of Holies except who? The high priest, once a year. And so then they would make themselves unclean. They would defile themselves, and they would defile the Holy of Holies. So ever since 1967, no Orthodox Jewish person has ever. They just don't come up here. You'll never see them up here. Did you notice you don't see any? They're all down at the Wailing Wall. You don't see them up here, and that's why. Now, when the temple's rebuilt, which I believe will be right up here on this end of the temple, and I believe the Antichrist will allow that. When the temple's rebuilt, there are people here in Jerusalem today that are already making plans for that. It's called the Temple Institute. They actually have, they have an organization. This is not like National Enquirer. This is real. They have a storefront right in the Jewish Quarter where you can go, and they'll show you that they are the things they are making. They are remaking the furniture of the temple. They're remaking the utensils that were used in the temple. They're remaking all of the bowls and even the candelabra, the menorah that was in the temple, the great candlestick. And you understand, they're actively doing that. And they have a cornerstone that they've already quarried for the new temple that's here somewhere in Jerusalem. We don't know exactly where it is. But if you remember, I hope maybe some of you remember about, when was that October thing? 10, 12 years? 2000. So about 12 years ago, there was a rumor that spread that the Temple Institute guys were going to bring the cornerstone for the new temple up onto the Temple Mount. It was just a rumor. And Arafat was still alive then, and he called everybody to come defend the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and there was a big riot here. And 19 people were killed. Do y'all, anybody remember that? You don't? Okay, October, yeah. But there was, and the army came rushing on. I mean, it was a mess. And all of that just from a rumor. They weren't even going to do it. They never planned to do it. But the rumor started all of that trouble.
Somebody wanted to start a riot, so he started a rumor.
Well, you know who it was that started the rumor. Mr. Arafat started the rumor. He wanted to start trouble. But this is the most hotly contested, the most sensitive piece of real estate in the world you're standing on. I mean, all it takes is somebody sneezing the wrong way, and trouble breaks out here. So, you know, I mean, it's great we're here, it's calm, but, you know, be aware, this is really a sensitive 14 football fields you're standing on, right? Everybody's sensitivities are high here.
Oh, talking about sensitivities, I do understand some people are having a harder time to listen because nature is calling. What we will do, we will walk up together through the Temple Mount, have a good photo of the dome and the gold. We'll have a good photo of the gold in the dome. We'll see the Holy of Holiest and walk to the pavement, to the Litostrato, the judgment place, where we first occupy the restrooms, okay?
God love them.
I got to add.